The Illuminati, doomsday prophecies, tarot, yoga. What do all these things have in common? The occult, an order of magic thinking which involves some of history's most famous philosophers and healers. The occult had many secret societies that focused on transforming solid matter and performing seemingly impossible tasks, like becoming invisible. The $64,000 question: what really is the occult?
The occult began centuries ago in about 1300 with the birth of Hermeticism, a Greco-Egyptian religion that centered on Hermes Trismegistus, a figure shrouded in mystery. There is much speculation on who he actually was. Some say the Greek god Hermes, others say the Egyptian wisdom god Thoth, a hybrid of the two, a demigod, or Moses. Hermes Trismegistus wrote tens of thousands of tracts that became the essential teaching of alchemy, which were unfortunately destroyed during the pagan purges once Constantine converted the Roman Empire to Christianity and chose the four legitimate Gospels. Or so we thought, until 1945, when a hidden cache of Hermetic codices were discovered in Upper Egypt, including the writings of one Hermes Trismegistus. This religion believed that though Trismegistus was their god, Sophia was the goddess who created the universe and sat at the head of the table. Hermeticism is still a prevalent religion today. One might recognize hermetics from occurrences such as doomsday prophecies and Illuminati theories.
Hermes Trismegistus' writings led to the creation of alchemy, the medieval forerunner of chemistry based on supposed transmutation of matter, like lead to gold. Alchemy was practiced in Africa, Asia, and Europe until the 19th century by scientists who believed in spiritual purification of the soul was necessary. The goals of this pseudoscience involved transmutation, that is, turning common metals into gold, and achieving immortality. One of the most famous phrases of the occult comes from a principle of alchemy: as above, so below.
Shamans practiced divination and healing by entering a trance and visiting realms where mystical beings could help them with their cause. They could also access and influence good and evil spirits. In some societies, initiation involved torture and dismemberment of the body, scraping away all flesh until only skeleton remained, and an ascent to the sky realm.
Necromancy comes from the Latin necromantia and evolved from shamanism, another pseudoscience connected to the occult, although this one has a much darker background. The practice of necromancy is a sorcery concerned with communicating with the dead in a physical or spiritual capacity, and was mostly used to obtain information from a deceased person or to hurt other people.
Of course you've heard of the witch burnings in Salem, where witches were burned at the stake for supposedly possessing magical powers. Despite popular belief, no witches were burned at the stake in Salem. The theory that they were burned came from Europe, where over 50,000 witches were executed in this fashion. Some ways of proving someone was a witch were seizures, violent contortions, and blood-curdling shrieks. Giles Corey was crushed by stones while 19 others were hanged. In total, 42 people were executed under the assumption that they were witches in Salem. Witches' bodies were, in fact, burned after death to prevent posthumous sorcery.
A psychic is someone who can unlock their sixth sense, which is the ability to see into the future. Some of the most famous psychics are Nostradamus, Uri Geller, and Edgar Cayce. Nostradamus was a psychic for the French court, and he predicted plagues, earthquakes, floods, and etc. Uri Geller could supposedly bend spoons and speed up and slow down clocks. Edgar Cayce was an illiterate man who was able to diagnose medical conditions and cure them. Eventually, he became so good that he could cure someone without needing to see them.
Aleister Crowley, who preferred to be called the Great Beast, was the most influential member of the occult thus far. He began in a secret society called the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, but his highly inflated ego and strong ambition caused his sudden ejection. Following this, he founded the Ordi Templi Orientis and the Lamp of the Invisible Light Societies. With the invisible light, Crowley claimed that the key to invisibility was not actually becoming invisible, but tricking people into not noticing you. He said that he had mastered this and that he could don red robes and a golden crown and walk the streets of Mexico without a single person noticing. Crowley also created the premier tarot deck of ages and the Book of Law, which created a new religion called Telema, centered around the messenger Aiwass, who was similar to Satan and was obviously real due to certain aspects of numerology. From this book came the controversial phrase, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law."
Born Helena Petrova Hahn, Helena Blavatsky was an active member of the occult. As a young woman, she moved to Tibet to work with the Lama, where she witnessed a reincarnation ceremony. In this ritual, a 4-month-old baby walked up and down chanting, "I am Buddha, I am the old Lama, I am its spirit in a new body." After she moved back to her old home country, she claimed to have dual personalities, where one was still living in Tibet and could access it on occasion and see what it was doing.
Born into a family racked with poverty, Grigori Rasputin allegedly had healing powers and became the Tsar's family healer and cured their son Alexei's hemophilia. Due to conflicts with opposers of the imperial family, he was fed cyanide which had no effect on him. He was shot and beaten and was still breathing when thrown into a river. Before he died, he wrote to Nicholas II that if he were killed by government officials, the imperial family would fall. This prophecy came true 15 months later. Many people believe in superstitions, and everyone has heard the most common ones, but there are thousands more of them, such as empty pockets on New Year's means you'll have a poor year.
I have a penny.
Garlic protects you from vampires. Evil spirits can't hurt you if you stand in a circle of salt. Sprinkling salt on a doorway can protect you from evil spirits. Praising a newborn child will invite evil spirits.
What a beautiful baby! He's gonna be so rich!
So what is the occult?
The Illuminati!
He pointed at me. You don't point. You do not point until
Okay,
it's ready.
go! Just start talking, I can cut this.
Alright, yeah, you see, if I hear the point, that means... We're going, alright?
You say you can hear the point.
Yeah, if I hear the point, that means that I start talking. Necromantia?
In some societies, initiation involved torture and dismemberment.
Why? Why did that happen to
It was so good! What?
You would need bear poo.
you? What?
Winnie
bear
the Pooh
poo.
was
Oh, I thought you said we need. I thought you said we need the poo.
That will still attract flies.
Review your life.
A psychic is someone who can unlock their sixth sense, which is the ability to see into the future.
What was that? Why?
Witches' bodies were in fact burned after death to prevent posthumous sorcery.
Of course you've heard of the witch burnings in Salem, where witches were burned at the stake for supposedly possessing magical powers. Despite the popular belief, no witches were burned at the stake in Salem. The theory was they were burned came from Europe, where 50,000 witches were executed in this fashion. Some ways of proving someone was a witch were seizures, violent contortions, and blood-curdling screams. Giles McCory was crushed by stones, while 19 others were hanged in total. 42 people were executed under the assumption that they were witches in Salem. Witches' bodies were in fact burned after death to prevent posthumous